that work for Dominique?
Well, as far as the weight cut goes, when I'm cutting weight, like I don't just like cut 25 pounds real fast like that. I'll have my 6-week fight camp usually, and I'll go on my diet like immediately, and I'll cut out all my heavy carbs and sugars, and I'll basically eat chicken breast, fish, and vegetables for 6 weeks, and I'll cut down to about when it's all done, I'll be at like 155, and then I got like 10 pounds of water weight, which is not really anything. I've cut 13 pounds of water weight in a day, so it's not safe, don't get me wrong, but I can do it. It's been done. This last weight cut I had for my fight last Friday, that was probably the easiest one I've had so far. I made weight with no problem. I only had to be in the sauna for 30 minutes, so that was a real successful weight cut. I'm kind of just learning my body a little bit better, and
Okay.
It's becoming more of a science, What was your other question? I'm sorry.
So learn that science, that kind of ties into what the second part of the question was just, it just seems like such an uphill battle for an amateur. You don't have all the resources, for someone to prepare your meals for you. You actually have a regular full-time job. Then you do your teaching on the side. How do you get through all of this, and maintain that focus for a fight?
Yeah.
Obviously, you're very self-motivated.
Right. I'm super, super strict on myself when I got a fight coming up. Like, I work at Buffalo Wild Wings, so that's like not the greatest place for an MMA fighter to work. When you're trying to be on a diet. But I'm like if you ask any of my coworkers know I'm a freak when I'm training for my fight. Like, I'll freak out if I have too many cucumbers in a day. How many cucumber slices?
Okay.
Like I'm super strict on myself. I don't touch any of that stuff when I'm training for my fight. And like as far as my balance and everything, it's hard, but I got it. Like my job's pretty flexible. They know what I do, and they know that I have. I need my time for my training and stuff like that. So, and they know I also teach. So that's an excuse for another. That's my other job, and I don't have to be here. So,
Right.
Usually like Monday, that's like my day for me to train. I'll go to Brighton and do my training, stuff like that. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I gotta teach. I teach my little kids class first for an hour, and then I teach my adult class, my more advanced class, for an hour and a half after that on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I kind of get my own training in too while I'm doing that. So I'll do the workouts and everything. I'm not the type of coach to just, sit there and bark orders. I'm trying to do the workout and get some work in myself.
Right.
Wednesdays I normally do training too by myself. Well, not by myself, at my gym out either in Brighton or Jiu-Jitsu with my coach in Ypsilanti at Bushido. And then like Thursday, I also have to work in the morning. So that like Thursdays is definitely my busiest day. I have to work at B-Dubs, and then I gotta get off of B-Dubs and then go straight to my other job, and teach for 2.5 hours and work after I was just, doing all this other stuff at Buffalo Wild Wings. So it is hard to juggle stuff. I get yelled at by girls a lot because they say I don't have time, and I let them know that immediately. Like, my career comes first. So, but that's probably one of the biggest things I get yelled at for sure. Me not having time for other things, but trying to make it to the UFC. So
Right.
Girls are going to be there, you know.
Right. Once again, this is the Pay Me No Mind show. I'm on with special guest, MMA fighter Dominique Carter, Dominique DC Carter. So, what's your next move, man? I mean, so you intend to fight professionally in your next fight, which may be slated for beginning of 2016. How do you bridge this gap to get to the next level, man? I mean, and you've mentioned UFC a couple times, so would you consider Bellator or some of the other stuff? You know, how do you intend to make this happen?
I'd definitely go for any of the big organizations. I'm just I like to shoot high. You know, I'm going for the top, and the top is UFC. So
okay.
I want to be the best in the world, so I just try to keep try to stay positive on that highest goal. And this gap, I'm just going to be really just preparing myself, making myself a different fighter. You know, every fight I like to take a little bit of time off to get some real good training in, so I can have different tools. You know, so I don't look like the same person I did the first time. Because when guys study for you, once they know you're their opponent, they're automatically YouTubing you. They're looking at your Facebook if they can. They're trying to see whatever videos they can, you know. And I want them to think they know what I'm going to do and then completely shock them, you know. So within these next months, I'm just going to be training hard. I'm going to be it's only been a week off from the fight, and I started, you know, eating like, you know, just celebration food. And I'm already
couple of those boneless wings in you.
Yeah, I'm already sick of it. So I'm starting my diet back actually today, and I'm probably gonna just be walking around pretty soon at 155. So my cut to 145 will be simple, because I'm about to be a professional. I'm about to take my career very seriously, and I'm just going to be always ready for anything. You never know when UFC or Bellator or somebody will call you, say they need you to fill in for somebody, you know, maybe 3 weeks notice or something. So I'm trying to stay in shape and be ready for anything.
What's your record right now, man?
9-2.
9-2. So that was my question. Kind of touching on that. I mean, does the UFC, Bellator, I don't even know if Strike Force is still around, and I know WEC kind of joined. Or do they have scouts and whatnot that go out and find fighters? I mean, I know get an opportunity like the Ultimate Fighter would be great, but outside of that, how can you get DC in front of these other organizations, these bigger organizations?
Well, I feel like there are scouts out there. There's been a couple guys that have been discovered from out here. Like I said, Darren Cruikshank, he's from Detroit, Michigan. Kevin Lee, he's from Detroit, Michigan. Both of them are now in the UFC. Guys like James Lee. James Lee was in the UFC. But so guys get discovered out here, and I know a couple guys that fought for Bellator, stuff like that. So it's not too hard. You just kind of, like I said, you got to market yourself. You gotta make your name known. I just plan on doing that with my hands and feet, you know. So that's how I'm going to market myself, knocking guys out, hopefully.
Got you. Hey, so what weight class do you think you'd like to stay around once you do make it to the next level? Where do you think fits best for you? That gives you kind of a competitive advantage.
I'm pretty sure I'm just going to stay at 145. I mean, I've thought about the possibility of doing 35, but realistically, right now, I'm probably just going to do 145. I'm already a big 145er. I'm pretty sure I'm bigger than Jose Aldo, the UFC champion. So I think that's where I'm gonna stay.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was. So I pulled up the featherweight division at 145. My apologies, I mentioned 147 earlier. What's your thoughts on this Aldo McGregor fight? You mentioned McGregor as being someone that you looked up to. I haven't seen a lot of McGregor just yet, and then with Aldo, I was a big time Uriah Faber guy maybe 5 or 6 years ago. He was one of the MMA guys that I kept an eye on, the California Kid. And the way when he ran into Aldo, man, and the way that Aldo defeated him, you know, kind of soured things for me as far as following an MMA guy. But what's your thoughts on that fight when they meet up in December, Aldo and McGregor?
I think it's going to be a good fight. I honestly don't have a favorite on that fight. I like Aldo too. McGregor, he talks a lot, and sometimes I want people to shut him up. Sometimes you can't help but like the guy. So I honestly don't know. I think that's going to be a good fight to watch. I'm just excited to see that. No favorite in that fight. Yeah.
I appreciate McGregor's marketing. I'm looking at him on The Ultimate Fighter, and while they're in the gym for the fights, he's got his different pattern suits on and whatnot, and his bow ties and stuff. And he seems like a genuine guy, and I think the nature of MMA kind of keeps a guy somewhat respectful, but you can have some swagger and, you know, kind of market yourself. But I just think the nature of the game makes it so that, you know, it's within good reason.
Oh yeah, he's right now Conor McGregor is marketing his ass off because he is making so much noise in the UFC. Just I don't know if you've seen any of his press conferences or anything, but he will talk trash to other divisions and say, you know, like, that he's going to come to their division next, you know, and come beat them. Like, he's, like, I don't like I've heard people compare him to Muhammad Ali, and I don't really like the comparison as far as, like, not as far as, like, skill or anything like that. I can see how they can say that, though, about, like, the way he talks and how he, you know, how he's so confident about himself. Because Muhammad Ali was just like that, you know.
Right. All right, well, hey man, I appreciate your time today. I hope you keep pay me no mind in mind, you know, after some future fights. You are right up the road, so you know, if I get a bit of a heads up on something, I might try to come up and check you out. You know, a mutual acquaintance or friend did put you and I in touch. Any last words, man? I mean, you know, what your future? I mean, last thoughts on your future plans, or you don't have an opponent name for January, do you?
No. I mean, I have. Yesterday, I talked to my coaches, and they shot a name at me, but I'm not going to give any names because I don't know if it's set in stone or anything. So, I just know the guy that they talked to me about is if we fight, it's going to be some bad blood, so it'll be fun.
Okay. Okay. Hey, well, like I said, man, I appreciate your time, man. I wish you well and wish you success in all of this. I hope you make it to that top level, and you know, I'll continue to check you out. And like I said, hopefully, maybe after you do learn your opponent's name, you know, maybe you can come back and check me out. You know, holler at us for, you know, a few minutes. We don't want to disrupt your training or anything, but yeah, man, I'm interested, man. I mean, this exposes me to something new. Like I said, my brother's a big time MMA fan, and you know, I just look forward to see what happens for you, man.
All right, thank you, man. I appreciate everything.
Take care, DC.
All right, see you later, man.